So tell me, at what point in your life did you know acting was it for you?
I think I was about 3 or 4, and I was imitating my father, who had a French beard and glasses. So everybody kind of started giggling in the family, and that's when I knew that, oh, this is something that gets you a lot of attention. And as a kid, it sounds like a good idea, but later, it's also something that relieves stress of. You can dissipate stress immediately if you make people laugh or imitate somebody. So I thought that was a real gift, and I didn't doubt that I would. I never had any other ambition, and I didn't even think of it as a career. I very naturally flowed into it. Like, I didn't think I will do this and then do this, or I didn't plan anything. It just happened, and it continues to unfold in that very natural, very organic way.
You knew this was your calling?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Wow.
For me, I've always wanted to study fashion, and even when I was in high school, I used to take courses at FIT, because to apply to that college, you have to know what degree you want to apply into. So, and my parents were really supportive. Every time I would just go around the house and just want to be creative with all things fashion, like learn more about it. I actually got a job at a store, at a jean store when I was younger, because I wanted to learn so much about the whole process of buying for a store.
Wow.
What kind of merchandise, pricing, customers,
How old
marketing.
were you?
So legally you're not allowed to work in the States until you're 16, and that too a set amount of hours. But I lied when I was 15 because I wanted to work so bad that I wanted to lie to get that work permit. So every day after school, I'd go to this jeans store down the street from my house for 3 hours, and I'd literally fold jeans and talk to customers and just learn. Like, for me, I've always been a visual learner, and every Monday was like the most exciting day because it was payday. So I was like, yes, that one check that I get, which my dad never let me spend. So
when did you get your first check? At what age? Can I ask?
15.
Wow.
Yeah, and work ethic aside, like you were talking about following your calling, I think the one thing that people need to know in order to follow your calling is not associate a number with it. Don't put a value on it, and don't ever ask if it's the right thing to anyone else looking in. What will my friends think? What will my parents think? What will family members think? Do you think growing up as being a 100% Indian born and bred citizen, technically, not really, but I was born in such a traditional household. Do you think it was easy for my parents to not be judged? All of their friends were like, how can you let your daughter model? So wrong. Like, she's gonna be hanging around such glamour and going to these parties, and there's gonna be alcohol and this and so much exposure at a young age. No, they brought me up to know the difference between right and wrong, and it's only because of that, and because of their support, and because they didn't let me get fazed by other people judging me, that I could sit here with my head high over 10 years later saying, I'm really proud of what I've done, because I've never had to do anything wrong to get here. And that's what people need to know about your calling. Stick to your truth.
Fantastic. Tanvi, would you like to add to that?
I think for me, it kind of happened by accident. I didn't really know about it. I didn't really think about what I'm supposed to do in life, because as a child, I was a very nerdy child. I always used to be like in my books, always. I belong from a very middle-class family, and in middle-class families, when you have a child who's nerdy, who's good at studies, your parents tell you become an IAS officer. And that's what I thought till I was in my college, that yeah, I will go and I will become an IAS officer, because that's what you're supposed to do in life. That's what doing good in life meant to me. And I think after college, when I experimented a little bit, I went on to study MBA. There I kind of thought that let me start by working with a startup, because corporate culture didn't really go with me. I was never really a corporate kind of a person. I went on to, work with a couple of startups. My professional career before starting this company has been only for 9 months. I worked with 2 startups. With both of them, unfortunately or fortunately, did not work out for me. And after that, I sat down to think when I was in a kind of a hard phase professionally in my life, what do I really want to do? And what I started was actually a very personal issue that I faced in my life with sanitary. So yeah, I think it just happened. I just took the risk of doing it, didn't really think about what will happen monetarily or what will happen with my career. I just went on to do it. And now, now I recognize that yes, I'm good at it. I like doing it. And so I can say that this is my calling.
This is your calling. How do you go around being so authentic? How are you not afraid of log kya kahenge? How do all of you deal with that in your life? Because to be able to follow your calling at some point or the other, judgments come up. You must have faced it. You must have faced it.
I think everybody here must have faced it. People would have said कि अंधे लोगों के लिए किताब बना रही है.
Exactly, क्या कर रहे हो आप?
पैड्स का काम कर रही है. ये तो मॉडल है. ये नौटंकी करेगी.
हाँ, इसलिए तो सवाल. How do you deal with it? How do you still go after your dreams saying that, listen, I don't care?
Because the first thing anybody should know is that the people who are criticizing you for making the choices that you are not paying your bills. They will line up for a selfie when you get famous. And honestly, it's very easy to say that, oh, you shouldn't let it affect you. We're all human. It does affect you when people who are close to you, your friends, don't either believe in you or your family doesn't support you entirely. So it's hard, but you have to go ahead with it despite it, because you have to do it for yourself. It gets complicated. Suppose she had become an IAS, which was maybe her parents' dream, and she thought it was her dream also. And then when she's sitting as the SP of Bhagalpur, one day it would hit her that, oh no, this is not what I wanted to do with my life. So I guess you have to be very honest to yourself first, and when you arrive at that honesty, then it's easy, because then you can come from the same place of truth for everybody. Honestly, it's not such a big deal. It's not like you wake up and you read something and you go back to bed and you cry.
You don't.
You read it, you're like, oh, what an idiot, And the truth of society that we're living in this country is that, people are like, you can have the best female politician. Suppose you have someone like Mayawati. People are still going to keep commenting about how she looks and what size her birthday cake is, as opposed to what she's doing with her life. The thing is, you must remember that people are always going to keep attaching a certain amount of value to you as a woman basis your appearance. It's a very disheartening and very irritating fact, because some days you just want to get done with it. When I was doing plays in Delhi, sometimes people said, oh, you're too pretty for this part. So there was that.
Oh, it's too pretty also.
Yeah, and in Bollywood, people always say, thodi aur gori, something like that. So you can't please everybody, and you can't keep doing this repeatedly every single day, because then you'll be upset, and I don't want to show up with like a frozen face and really big lips, and it shouldn't be another person in my 10-year challenge. Ke banda hi badal gaya. So
that's a good one.
Yeah. So I feel like you should, when you realize that they're always gonna, keep judging you by how you look.
A very few days ago, so we actually rolled out a campaign. So I deal with sanitary pads. So we recently rolled out a campaign called Real Women, Real Pads, where we wanted to show some real women who were my friends holding out pads on the camera, and just click normal, very candid pictures of them with the pads, just to make you okay looking at a woman holding a pad on the screen.
I know, there's a taboo on that itself.
Yeah. So there were a few pictures where there was my friend who was holding the pad in front of her crotch with a very serious expression, looking really fierce. And we'd written the caption of that picture, something fierce, fierce women and gentlest care for, really fierce women. And somebody commented like, even even if she had been smiling, she would have looked fierce. So it's okay to smile. Then there was another picture of a woman who was literally laughing in front of the camera because we were cracking jokes behind the lens. And there was another comment on this picture saying, why is she laughing so hard and why is she trying too much? So I think log kahenge har baat pe, you just learn to deal with it. You just, learn to deal with the fact that everything you put out to the world, for them to judge, there will be judgments, but there will also be a set of people who will appreciate it, and I think that's what matters more.
People constantly judge me by the way I look, or my height or weight or this. Honestly, I've been a little, I just have I think I do at least, a pretty strong mind when it comes to these things, because especially because I started working in New York, where I was literally told that the girl is meant to fit into the clothes. It's not the other way around. So when I'd go for shoots or to castings or meetings with designers for things, either I wasn't tall enough, or I wasn't skinny enough, or I was too flat-chested, or I had too much, my hair was too long. Also, they didn't understand, I had to lie. My agency in New York didn't want me to say I was Indian. I used to go and meet designers and I would have to say, I'm Spanish, I'm Brazilian, because I would never get the job if I said I was Indian. They didn't want that kind of model. They didn't want any kind of representation that was from this side of the world. They didn't associate themselves with it. And it was really hard, because I was also I just finished puberty. Oh my God, something went wrong. I'm not supposed to be the way I am. But it took a little bit of time. I wouldn't say, I had days that I'd come home and cry and think that I can't do this, I'm not strong enough. But I think with repetition, and like you said, someone is always going to have a problem with the way you look. I was made fun of throughout school. I just never fit into my body. Something was always wrong. I was made fun of, again, racially, because I went to a Catholic school. So there weren't a lot of Indian kids. Everyone was pretty much American around me. I would say that, again, you just have to switch off. At the end of the day, there's always going to be someone that has a problem with the way you look, what you do, and I constantly tell women that they shouldn't compare themselves, because it's the worst thing you can do, the worst place you can get stuck in your head. And I know this might sound really harsh to some of you, but till today I show up on a job or on set at a shoot, and you'll always hear people whispering, oh my God, look at her skin, she's a pimple. Oh my God, it's a pimple. Am I human? How did I not wake up with perfect skin?
This is what I'm saying. You can be the most gorgeous people.
You can be too pretty.
And you can be the most gorgeous model, and the world will tell you something's wrong with you.
I was just shooting for a beauty campaign the other day, and literally people were staring at the camera after every shot and going, but did you notice that she had a scar on her face? And she has a pimple on her neck. Where did that pimple come from? And I was like, I don't know. Am I supposed to walk around with perfect skin when people touch my face constantly?
Perfect? I mean, who defines perfect?
The point is, you switch off. Sometimes, and I think this happens a lot in the entertainment industry, you kind of, especially I'm sure as an actor, you have to detach yourself from that. What I do at work, I sell stuff. I am part of a marketing process. You see things in magazines, you see things in ads. My job is to help sell that product. I studied marketing, I understand how it works. At the end of the day, people are going to forget that I'm a human being. But those aren't the people that I associate myself with. Those are just work colleagues, and at the end, you just switch off. I know it sounds really harsh, but
so would you surround yourself with people who actually lift you up and bring that positivity and motivation in your life?
Yeah, and you know what? At the end of the day, I'm sorry. All PR is good PR. So you're going to talk about me? Thank you. You're spreading my name.
So, of course, because when I started out, I was 24. So a lot of them thought, you are coming out with a magazine for the visually impaired. Why would you do that now? You know, this is something that you should do when you retire, when you've already had a career.
Oh, when you retire, then
Yes, so you need to let your hair turn grey and then do something of this sort. And so that was my usual feedback. And yeah, I mean, a lot of my own relatives would tell me that it's time for you, you're fresh out of college, it's time for you to now let your father rest and, you know, pay his bills and not get into something that's going to... I'm like, you don't worry about my father, I'll take care of him, you know, till the time he doesn't have a problem. And today I'm really happy to say that he is one of the most, you know, happiest person.
Proud of
and he's always, like, you know, my family has always been by my side and said, do what you want, you know, chase your dreams, there's nobody stopping you. So yes, I do have a lot of educated people also tell me why I would do charity at this age. But A, I don't do a charity. B, I run a business. And C, it's all right. And people need to get used to and normalize the idea of working and solving a social problem and still making money out of it.
Exactly.
So, you know, that's something.
The two can go hand in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so stop labeling things like charity and you're doing, like, you know, social work. No.
You're filling a gap.
You're just solving a problem that the
need.
community hasn't solved till today. So, yeah.
No, I love the fact that the four of you are chasing your dreams irrespective of anything else, which is what this theme is about, because there's so many of us out there who are scared because there's fear of judgment. There's so many fears that come up, but none of you have let that stop you in pursuit of your dreams. So my next question actually to all of you is this. There are enough challenges I'm sure each and every one of you has faced, right? How have those challenges grown you, Richa? How does it empower you as a person? In what, you know, take you to possibly a higher version of you? And what is that higher version that came out?
No success is like one trajectory. You have to fail a few times. You have to fail. You have to feel betrayed. Your friends will lie to you and go for the audition that they told you sucks. Your manager will still steal money from your fund. Your maid will borrow money and run away. All these strains, it's also about handling people. So a lot of the betrayal will come from people close to you, and that really, I mean, at least for me, I have not been able to get rid of my sensitive side and become really tough in business. So I get betrayed a lot, but I feel like it always helps me gauge the next person a lot better. And that makes me somebody who is able to be forthright. The fear of failure never really leaves you because you keep growing, and then there's a new set of, it's like scaling different peaks. There's always something
different mountains
high.
to climb.
Exactly. And when you get there, you get a great view, but you also understand that the challenge from here is even harder or more difficult.
True.
Especially in order to sustain a business, the next things to do. I was just chatting with her. I think courage is a mixture of excitement and fear.
Nice.
The fear never really goes away, but you have to deal.
You have to let the excitement be higher than the fear.
Yeah, it's like, you know, it's like being on a roller coaster and enjoying the ride and then throwing up.
You know, the idea of chasing our dreams and doing that work no matter what.
You have to do it despite the fear.
Fantastic.
You have to not stop because of the fear. You have to do it despite the fear. I mean, for the film industry can be very toxic. So what I do is I have other interests that I like. I like to read, I write.
You like to write as well, I've heard.
Yes, I like photography. I have other hobbies other than just
so that keeps you sane and grounded.
Yeah, I take music lessons for myself, not for something else, just to diversify my own understanding of who I am. I travel. So yeah, that keeps me very grounded. I have a set of friends who I knew before I got famous. So
You're
I
still
know
part
that,
of the life.
yeah, very much so. In fact, much more stable and grounded because they can call out the bullshit. They can say, this is not a good
like you're
role
calling
for
out
you.
today.
Exactly. We all need it. We all need a reality check. So I think my parents do that for me. And yeah, some select friends. And I think it will be true for everybody.
Yeah, so Upasana?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to be stubborn about what you really want to do in life, you know. So when I started, I just had one person tell me, hey, listen, you don't need to have a plan B. be so convinced about your plan A that, you're able to chase that. And there have been months together then that there have never been, a rupee in my bank account,
Really?
Even though the startup life for people looks very glamorous and, oh my God, you're on the cover of a Forbes, or
Forbes and
oh my
Fortune.
God, you're being covered by the media. But that does not necessarily mean you're having a very, it's an interesting journey, but it's tough. But I've chosen it for myself. I'm accountable for it. So I'm at it. So, it's never that any kind of challenge will sort of put me down. Of course, there are times, I lock myself up in a room, I'll cry about it. But I'll make sure that, I sort of gather courage to find a solution to it. Because I'm still a single person organization since the past 6 years. I don't have a team.
A single person
works.
organization?
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely. So I am the office boy for my company, and I'm also the founder. So I run both the roles, and being a woman, I think I multitask brilliantly. That's an advantage I've had since I've been a child. So I use that as an advantage and learn from whatever I get taught every day from every challenge that comes out. So I'm loving it.
So you
Yeah.
learn. So you're saying you just take every challenge as a learning experience.
Yeah,
Tanvi,
yeah.
is that how you pretty much deal with your challenges?
Yeah, I think Richa just said it so beautifully, that courage is a mixture of fear and excitement.
Fantastic.
And just hit me that, yeah, that's completely true. I mean, for me personally, starting a brand like Carmesi, which is so vocal, which is so out there, in an industry which has always been in whispers. So I think doing that was a mixture of fear and excitement, because I believe...
You were scared?
Oh, very scared. I'm an introvert.
I know you
don't-
mentioned, which I was shocked
Yeah.
when you said that.
I am generally always, whenever I would want to relax, I would be in my bed watching Netflix or just by myself. I'm a loner that way. So to start a vocal brand like that, to put out my opinions like that, to put out my beliefs like that, I was very scared. But I was also excited because I believed in them.
When you are in a public industry, you have to understand that with the criticism is going to come a lot of people in your ear telling you what's right and wrong and the way to go. I never compared myself to anyone else. You have to, first and foremost, be very happy and comfortable in yourself. And at the end of the day, obviously this career has some sort of lifespan. Technically, not really anymore. But again, even in that process, in a world that is pushing you, propelling you to like change every day. Come on, think of something new, and you're comparing yourself, and there's so much competition out there, and you're literally hustling for the next big thing and the next big idea. I think my biggest challenge right now is to just do the opposite and slow down and live and really take in every moment. Because, and I can only say that because I went through the whole phase of probably when I was 15 to 20, where I was eager and overwhelmed and constantly anxious about doing everything, because obviously you also have so much more energy and you're hyper. And then you just calm down. If I sat here and had to constantly think, oh my God, it's gonna end. Oh my God, like another year older. What is that? How do you enjoy what you do when you're living in the state of doom? You have to, and I love that you said that you didn't have a plan B. I didn't have a plan B, and I think
You also didn't.
You
So
can't.
you just
like,
don't give yourself another option. You think
you
this
just
is it.
can't. And the blessing is when you do start a bit young, like I think my gut instinct was so much louder then. It didn't let me have a plan B. Like who is even thinking of a career at 14, 15? I only thrived on the idea that this is what I love and this is what I'm going to follow. And if I fail, at least I tried. I know it's words that we literally read all the time. Don't ever live out of fear, and don't, these are fine, whatever. Literally the quotes that we read, and we're like, forward our friends on WhatsApp, and we're like, babe, no, you're having a bad day, don't live out of fear. No, don't live out of fear. Just don't do it. If you are constantly gonna wake up and feel fear, thank yourself for every part of you inside and out when you wake up in the morning. You don't need to look at the next person that is the CEO of this and doing this and driving this car and doing this. I, till this day, don't own my own house and I don't own a car in Bombay. I take autos wherever I go as much as I can. I like to support the local economy. That's what I tell myself. There are things that I want to work up to that I haven't gotten to. And at this age, I have tons of my friends who are like married and settled down and have just these normal lives. And yeah, if I look at them and say, I should be doing that, should I? No. My destiny and my path is different, and everyone else's is different.
Wow.
Again, like society norms are not the norm. There are moral standards that you uphold, but at the end of the day, your life is your life, and you do it with your head high, and that's what I call not failing, trying every day.